Welcome to Surviving the Side Hustle podcast, the place where expert-based business owners learn how to build momentum, avoid burnout, and create sustainable success on their own terms. I'm your host, Rob Tracz, strength and conditioning specialist turned founder and CEO of Prime Performance Coaching, the personal performance strategy firm for high-achieving business owners and operators. I partner with driven entrepreneurs to implement the Prime Performance process, an awareness-based operating system that's helped me and countless solopreneurs and small business owners evolve from just being high performers on the edge of burnout to prime performers building sustainable success. The impact of Prime Performance process has led me here, where I'll show you how to get unstuck and design your own Prime Performance life without sacrificing your health, relationships, or sanity. So whether you're hustling after hours or scaling your passion project, today and here you're going to get real stories, science-backed strategies, and practical frameworks to help you excel every step of your journey. It's time. Let's get intentional, build momentum, and become prime performers together. We'll get started just after this message. If you're an ambitious business owner or side hustler who's ready for a breakthrough, tired of spinning your wheels, looking to slide past burnout and build real momentum, I'd love to invite you to book a free Prime Performance strategy session with me or one of our strategists. This is your chance to get personalized insight on what's been holding you back and get a clear path to move forward. No fluff, just actionable strategy. So if you're interested, visit survivingthesidehustle.com/free call to request your spot now. Again, that's survivingthesidehustle.com/free call. Looking forward to helping you become a prime performer. What's going on? And welcome back to another Friday recap of Surviving the Side Hustle. So if you're someone who's building something right now, like a business, a side hustle, or just a newer, better, bigger version of yourself, and it feels hard, then this week's episode is for you specifically. Because this week's guest is a guy named Jay Setchel, and he's endured many crazy things, such as multiple near-death experiences. He's had over 70 surgeries, gone through paralysis, broken necks, failed ventures, rebuilt ventures, and through it all, he's held on to one belief, and that is that it's always too soon to quit. The promise of this week's episode was simple. If he can rebuild after dying, you can rebuild after a setback. So before we go any further, though, I want you to reflect on this. So think to yourself, what is it that feels hard in your life right now? It could be a slow month in business. It could be that a client left. Maybe a customer asked for a refund. Maybe you just launched a new project that didn't necessarily convert or get as much attention as you wanted. Is there a fear that you've been avoiding that you haven't faced yet? Think about it and then ask yourself, is it truly the end, or is it just a little bit of uncomfortable action behind this? Because that's the tension that Jay's story confronts. Most entrepreneurs go into business with the excitement and joy for the new venture, and majority of them don't succeed, with a very small portion making it past just a few years in business. And they don't fail because of a lack of talent. Typically, the failure comes from avoiding personal failures. It's like the discomfort that feels permanent. The failure feels personal. Quitting almost feels easier than enduring and pushing forward, because it's tough, right? There's a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs. And we often confuse discomfort with pain. But listen to Jay's story, because his life is proof that like anything is possible. Think about this contrast. You lose a client, you start to feel stressed. Jay broke his neck in 4 places and drowned. You feel overwhelmed by the uncertainty of what's going to happen when you're launching a new product. Jay spent 8 months in traction after dying. When your perspective shifts, so does the possibility. Jay Setchel. To a little background on him, he grew up on an 8th generation farm. So things like hard work, responsibility, and discipline, those all came natural. those things that were instilled on him from the very early days. Once he got old enough, he joined the Marines. And following the Marines, that came with some catastrophic injuries. And eventually, first time facing death. But it wouldn't be the end. He somehow came back from that and then experienced it again multiple times. But here's what's something that's even crazier. Hey, sorry for the interruption. It's me, Rob, and I hope you're enjoying today's conversation. But I wanted to remind you, if you're a driven entrepreneur or an expert-based business owner who wants to get unstuck, create sustainable momentum, and really start moving forward, I've got a free resource just for you. You can download my 5 keys to clarity and momentum. It's a PDF guide. It's a quick read, and it'll help you cut through the noise, clarify your next steps, and start building the systems that you need for sustainable success. So if you're new here, or if you haven't grabbed it yet, this is the first step to applying these principles in your own journey. So head over to survivingthesidehustle.com/5 keys and download your free copy today. Again, that's survivingthesidehustle.com/5 keys. He didn't define himself by survival. He defines himself by movement. Even in traction, even paralyzed, even after he was told that he would never walk again, he believed that he would. Jay made a distinction that really stuck with me. He says, strength isn't inside of you, it's within you. Inside implies something's hidden, private, isolated, but within you implies that something's built, collected, accumulated from experience. And that change is, that differentiation there really matters, because strength isn't something you're just born with. Like, yeah, some of us are genetically gifted with actual physical strength, but when we're talking about the strength that it takes to endure entrepreneurship, this is something that you assemble through the experience. So in our conversation and full interview, Jay said something powerful. He said, fight for your life is harder than starting a business. So let that sit in there. Every day you're fighting for your life. And when you fought for your breath, when you fought to move your body, and when you fought to just live for another few seconds, business stress starts to feel different. Not trivial, but contextual. The lesson here isn't that your problems don't matter. The lesson here is that your problems are solvable. And that's a massive difference. Perspective doesn't minimize pain, it right-sizes it. So when something feels overwhelming this week or going into the weekend, ask yourself, is this life-threatening or is this ego-threatening? And then decide to respond accordingly. One of my favorite parts about the conversation with Jay and hearing about his story wasn't even medical. It was business. He launched a video production division and it didn't take off. He didn't love it. It lacked belief, so he decided to shut it down. No ego, no denial, no sunk cost spiral, but he pivoted. Jay said it clearly. He said, don't just hope that it works, believe that it works. And again, there's a difference on that. Hope says, I wish. Belief says, I'm committed. If you find yourself hoping something works, pause, ask yourself, is it aligned or are you forcing it? Audit one of your current projects, because many of you listening are probably juggling a lot of different projects at this time. Look at one of them and ask yourself, do you believe in it? Or are you just hoping that it survives? Make one honest decision this week and think about that. Jay also shared something simple and powerful. He said, inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's very hard. And entrepreneurs fail because they try to jump yards. Get so caught up on chasing everybody else's milestones and highlights on social media that we're trying to go from 0 to 100K as quickly as possible. From an idea of coaching to 50 clients as quickly as they can. And even in fitness, I saw it all the time. People are like, hey, I can barely do 5. Let me try to jump up and do 50. I saw somebody on YouTube doing 50 push-ups. I want to be like that. You can't just leap ahead of the resilience. You got to learn to stack it. And Jay talked about push-ups. He says, if you can do 5 daily. Consistency builds the capacity. Intensity is what is going to speed you up to that burning out. But resilience isn't loud. It's repetitive. So you got to put in those reps. So pick one measurable behavior that you can do. that could be like 30 minutes of outreach per day, maybe one sales call per day. If you're struggling with marketing and getting more attention, maybe it's 10 posts per week, including stories and reels and such like that. Or if you're looking to build a little more discipline and strength, 5 push-ups per morning. It doesn't have to be crazy, but pick something and do it for 30 days. No drama, no negotiation. Just set it, announce that you're doing it on social media, tag me in it if you want, or even just share it with me in a message, but do it for 30 days and see what happens. And one of my favorite parts, probably my most favorite part of the entire episode with Jay, was hearing that Jay failed algebra. He bombed the final, he took it again, bombed it a second time, but he wasn't the only student who came back to try. His teacher said, straight A's don't guarantee success, but persistence does. And that's it. And that's really entrepreneurship in a nutshell. You don't need to be the smartest, the fastest, the most talented person in the world, but you do need to be the one who returns. Most people quit after the first failed test. Very few follow up and show up again. So ask yourself, where did you stop trying? Was it marketing on a specific channel? Was it on a particular product? Maybe a relationship, romantic or professional, or maybe it was a skill you were learning. Reattempt that one thing this week, or at least consider bringing it back in and see what can happen. Finally, when we kind of start to wrap up here, Jay emphasized a lot of things, something many forget though. So ask your customers, your clients, asking them like, hey, what is it that you like? What would you change? What else do you need? And get that information. Most business gurus, they just kind of go out and guess. Very few actually listen to their audience. And, listening is what helps create that leverage, helps you make better decisions and show where you got to focus your time, energy, and resources. Ego is going to try to resist the feedback. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable to get that. And here's another good opportunity to build some of that resilience. I know this is something that I do way too often. I get into a defensive mode when when I do get feedback, and I try to rationalize the reasoning behind it. But something I got to learn too is like, you want to grow a stronger business, you got to ask better questions. You got to learn to take that feedback into it. So keep in mind here, as you're going into the weekend and next week ahead, Jay didn't survive everything that he went through just because of luck. He survived because he refused to stop moving. So remember, if you're here listening right now, your story's not over. Your setback is not final, and your failure is not fatal. It might be painful, and it might be humbling, and it even might be inconvenient, but remember, it's too soon to quit. Jay has literally died multiple times. Most of us haven't even fully tried to live once. So let that motivate you, not to feel small, but to feel capable. Dream big, start small, stay consistent, never quit trying, and as always, reflect honestly, choose intentionally, and keep surviving the side hustle. That's all for today's episode of Surviving the Side Hustle. If you found value here, please don't forget to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening from. And please create a shared success by helping us share this episode with someone who you think would benefit from today's conversation. And finally, don't forget to connect with us at survivingthesidehustle.com and give us a follow on social so that we can take part in following along in your entrepreneurial journey. Until next time, remember, success doesn't require a complete sacrifice, just strategy, momentum, and the right support.